The Census Bureau releases data on state populations. I'm Chris Warner. We'll break down the data and its effect on funding.
Joplin city leaders provide an update on the city's fight against COVID-19. And we look at what 2021 graduates face in the job market.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
The Census Bureau today releases the 2020 state population numbers. This is KOAM News at 6. KOAM's Chris Warner joins us from the newsroom with more.
Well, Missouri saw an increase in population of around 149,000 people, and Kansas saw an increase of just over 77,000 people. Now, those numbers are important because they play a key role in federal funding allotted to those states. The numbers we're about to go over come from the George Washington University's Institute of Public Policy. For the 2015 fiscal year, the state of Kansas received around $4.5 billion for 16 large federal assistance programs. The state of Missouri received around $11.3 billion for 16 large federal assistance programs. With Monday's release of state counts, that will determine what amount of federal funding the states will get over the next 10 years. For the city of Joplin, it plays two key roles at the local level. The first, resources.
The census is an important effort that, one, helps us determine resource needs. If we're a growing population or if we're seeing changes in demographics, it's important that from a city perspective that we have the resources that we need to serve the public.
The other notable impact on the city is for Community Development Block Grant or CDBG funds.
So that is probably the primary way we receive funds, and that's based on low to moderate income population or not-for-profit work.
Back on the wider state picture, one of the 16 programs that receives federal funding based on population is the National School Lunch Program, which benefits students attending Joplin schools.
Now, we do have a federal breakfast and lunch program that we turn in reimbursement claims to the state, and then I think the state receives that federal funding to support that free and reduced lunch program.
Kinkle says that funding ensures all students have a meal at school.
I think it's vitally important that our students who qualify for free and reduced, that they don't have to worry about having the funds to pay for their lunches, or maybe a reduced rate for like 30 cents for breakfast or 40 cents for lunch. It's a huge benefit to our students.
Now, today's report also included state legislative district changes, which for the four-state area, no changes are being made. The full census data, including things like demographics and municipality populations, will be released later this year.
Chris Warner in our newsroom tonight. Chris, thanks. The city of Joplin today hosted a media briefing to discuss vaccination efforts. Officials say the vaccine supply in the city remains high, but demand for the vaccine is going down. When it comes to vaccination rate, Joplin is sitting above the state average.
Everybody's chipped in, everybody's gone above and beyond. There was a effort that continues still as far as a kind of a unified front on the vaccination side of things.
City officials also say they're working on plans for next month's 10th anniversary of the tornado. Health officials in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri announced that vaccinations using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will resume. Vaccinations were paused following the discovery of rare cases of blood clotting in some patients who received the shot. In a statement, the Kansas Governor, Laura Kelly, encouraged every Kansan to get vaccinated as soon as they can. Checking in with Doug Heddy now. Boy, windy out there today, Doug, and also pretty warm.
Yeah, temperatures mid-80s and 4 highs for us today, but we did have winds gusting in that 40 to 50 mile per hour range, so super windy across the region. A lot of clouds out there right now, but there's nothing underneath the clouds. So we are going to stay dry as we go into the evening and the overnight hours for us tonight. We have these strong southerly winds. It actually feel pretty good as we drop back into the mid-60s late tonight. You could open up the windows, let the wind kind of blow through the house. Here's our next storm system. This is going to start to affect us by tomorrow evening. Until then, we will stay dry. Look at our temps. Most of us are sitting into lower 80s right now. It's still very windy. We have these south winds, which have been kicking in. sustained 20 upwards to 30, and then gust over 40 miles per hour, Dow. So it is going to be windy for us throughout the overnight hours tonight. Of course, we're going to look at thunderstorm chances here in a bit.
All right, catch you then. Thanks, Doug. Newton County, Missouri judge sentences an Oklahoma man for his role in shooting at a Seneca, Missouri police officer. Kenneth Nellums gets 18 years and 15 years in prison on charges of first-degree assault and unlawful use of a weapon. Those sentences will run at the same time. Nellums entered an offered plea, which means he doesn't admit guilt, but recognizes that the prosecution does have enough evidence to convict him. Crime happened in September. Authorities say a Seneca police officer tried to make a traffic stop, but someone shot at the officer. The officer was not hit. Bradley Holmes, the alleged shooter, also entered an offered plea. He got 15 years in prison. Tony Helms, another co-defendant, also got 15 years in prison in that case. Authorities arrest a suspect in a Coffeyville, Kansas homicide. Coffeyville police say officers on Friday responded to the 700 block of West Martin Street for a shooting. When officers arrived, they learned the victim, 46-year-old Christopher Temple, had been taken to the hospital. Temple later died of his wounds. Today, authorities announced the suspect, 24-year-old Ruben Robles of Coffeyville, has been arrested in New Mexico. Graduation is coming up in just a few weeks for area college seniors, and many graduates starting to look for jobs. The good news for the class of 2021 is that as vaccination efforts increase and more industries open up, jobs that weren't available to the class of 2020 are now open.
This year, what we're hearing is that, May graduates are getting offers and they'll start immediately. None of those offers are being rescinded or anything, of course, because the situation is much different this spring than it was last year.
Most interviews and resources like job fairs remain virtual. Still ahead, the history of Carthage is put on display downtown. And MoDOT works to raise awareness of work zone safety to help protect the folks repairing our roads. Downtown Carthage, Missouri is getting a bit more color today thanks to a new mural. Vision Carthage today helped install the first 3 tiles of the mural titled Big Dreams Grow in Carthage. The mural's concept and design were created by local artist Andy Thomas.
It seemed like the perfect solution. But we had looked into all kinds of other methods, direct, vinyl, perhaps wraps, or different ways that would be more permanent than painting. And so this is really the perfect solution.
The mural is on the east side of McBride's Antiques at 136 East 4th Street. It's Work Zone Awareness Week in Missouri with consistently warmer temperatures here. That means the start of a busy time for MoDOT state highway crews. So we need some help to keep those workers safe. We all need to pitch in. We should pay attention and follow those construction speed limits.
The people out there on those work zones, their focus is on the job. If you're lucky enough to have an extra person out there to help watch traffic and help holler and give you that advance warning, that's fine and dandy, but it's not always enough. And especially in the TMA world, all you get's that rear view mirror.
27 people died in Missouri work zone crashes last year. A little bit later, President Biden is the first president in history to recognize the massacre of Armenians under the Ottoman Empire as a genocide. How that impacts a Missouri family.
Thunderstorm chances increasing over the next couple days. We're going to look at that coming up next. Well, it turned out to be a very warm but very windy day for us today. Just 6 days ago, we were setting record lows as we had hard frost and freezes. And then today we soar well into the mid 80s. So kind of strange. Yesterday was great. Sunday was fantastic. It wasn't near as windy. Mid 70s. We dropped back to about 60 and then mid 80s for us during the daytime hours today. In fact, 80 in Parsons, 80 in Miami, Pittsburgh, 81 in Neosho, Anderson, Nevada is sitting at 79. But still, these strong southerly winds have been kicking in over the past 12 to 15 hours, sustained in that kind of 20 to 30 mile per hour range. And then we've had gusts that have been upwards of 45, pushing 50 during the afternoon. The winds are going to diminish a little bit for us tonight. It's still going to be windy. It's still going to be windy once again during the daytime hours tomorrow. Also a lot of clouds across the region, but nothing underneath the clouds, so we are staying dry. 82 south winds, 23. Humidity is low at 34%. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 70s. We'll only bottom out into the mid 60s. Tonight is a fantastic night if you want to open up the windows, get a nice breeze through the house as we only drop back into the mid 60s. All right, a lot of clouds, but nothing underneath the clouds. This is the beginnings of our next storm system, which is building out toward the west. Right across the western parts of the Rockies, you can start to see some rain popping up in the higher elevations, but here's the main system out across northern parts of Utah. It's going to take its time pushing through. It's actually not going to be all the way through until Thursday afternoon, so we have to deal with it over the next 3 days. Let's go through time. Tonight's fine, even though we're going to have a lot of clouds. Mid 60s overnight lows. Heading into tomorrow, most of the day should be dry. It's going to be very similar to what we have outside right now. A lot of clouds, temperatures mainly into the upper 70s. We'll start at 65, 74 by noon, high temp right around 78. Still, it's going to be windy. South winds 15 to 25, just not quite as high as what we did see today. All right, through the evening hours, there is a chance we can pick up a few scattered thunderstorms. These are mainly going to be on the Kansas side, and if they do pop up, some of those could be strong, possibly severe. So we need to watch that tomorrow evening, and then even tomorrow night. Clusters that pop up, some of those could be strong to severe. Here's Wednesday morning, scattered showers and thunderstorms really getting going through the morning hours. We'll most likely get a break, and then we'll get strong to severe storms again as we head into Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Here will be the last batch about midnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And as that passes through, then any strong storm threat or severe threat will drop. Severe threat for tomorrow, again, mainly on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. We'll keep all the modes on the low side, but something we want to watch. Another factor to this system, rainfall. We picked up heavy amounts of rain last week. We're going to do it again out of this system, as a lot of areas will pick up 1, 2, 3 inches of rain. Just depends on where those heavier bands set up. 78 tomorrow, 72 Wednesday, cooling down a little bit, upper 30s on Friday. I hope we don't get a frost, and then we warm right back up for the weekend.
Wow, bit of everything in that forecast, as is typical for this time of year.
Kind of.
Thanks, Doug. With those severe weather chances looming, now is the time to download the KOAM Skywatch weather app. If you haven't already, you can get those up-to-the-minute severe weather updates sent right to your phone. Free, Apple App Store, Google Play Store. Just search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. Still ahead, the president recognizes the massacre of Armenians under the Ottoman Empire as a genocide, and it hits close to home for one Missouri family. And a Kansas man's role in this year's Academy Award-winning Best Picture. President Biden became the first president in history to recognize the massacre of Armenians under the Ottoman Empire as a genocide. Now, for decades, presidents avoided using the term genocide out of fear of angering Turkey, a key ally in the Middle East. Leslie Aguilar spoke to a Missouri family who says this announcement hits close to home.
This Blue Springs family has gone through a lot of trauma to have the life they do today. So it meant a lot for President Biden to acknowledge their struggle.
It means a great deal for all my ancestors.
Svetlana's ancestors are survivors of the 1915 genocide of 1.5 million Armenians. Her grandmother was born on a ship as her great-grandparents fled their homes and took refuge in Azerbaijan. That's where Evan's mother, Larisa Masasova, was born. The family lived in relative peace until 1989, when there was another genocide in Azerbaijan, causing them to flee to the Soviet Union.
That was feeling very bad after when they lost everything.
The family lived in the Soviet Union for about 12 years, until another war started, and they finally made it to the United States.
All Armenian people saying they lost apartments. They lost furniture, they lost jobs, they lost everything.
The president acknowledging the genocide that started this family's longtime struggle was emotional.
Oh, I say thank you, America. I love America.
There are currently more Armenians living abroad than there are still left in Armenia. And this family hopes the neighbors of Armenians in America and around the world take time to learn their history to keep from repeating it.
I'm just as proud to be Armenian as American. And that's what I teach my children, that don't ever take anything that anybody says to you because you look slightly different than they are.
The Turkish foreign minister voiced his country's rejection of President Biden's statement. He added the statement was, quote, only based on populism. Turkey has maintained that the number of dead Armenians was actually 300,000. It said that it was a period of war and losses were on both sides. The state of Kansas was represented at last night's Oscars, specifically Kansas native Peter Spears. Spears co-produced the Best Picture, Nomadland. He was raised in Overland Park and graduated from Shawnee Mission South High School. Chloe Zoa, the film's director, became the first woman of color to win Best Director, and co-producer Frances McDormand won Best Actress. Final check on the weather is next. Take time now to honor a local veteran. Fireman First Class Glenn Lowry served in the U.S. Navy. He was stationed aboard the USS Golden City during World War II. He received the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, World War II Victory Medal, and the American Campaign Medal. His hometown, Joplin. And we are proud to salute Fireman First Class Glenn Lowry. He's tonight's four-state hero. Jordan Nobby joins us now with a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Tonight at 9, going to take a look at the job market for the class of 2021. This pandemic, of course, making some sort of an impact this year. Also, the CDC releases safety guidance for summer camps. And going to check out a brain device helping patients with Parkinson's disease cope with symptoms. That and much more coming your way tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Jordan, thanks. Hey, take a look outside tonight if you get a chance. You might catch a glimpse of a pink supermoon, as it's called. NASA says the moon will be at its fullest tonight around 10:32. Now, supermoons appear bigger and brighter because they are slightly closer to Earth. This month will be one of 4 supermoons in a row, 2 more expected in May and June. Although it's called a pink moon, it's not really a different color exactly. The name comes from the pink early springtime blooms of the Phlox subulata plant, native to eastern North America. And whether it's white or pink or green cheese, whether you see it or not might depend on the cloud cover tonight, Doug.
Yeah, we are going to have a lot of clouds, but full moons are pretty bright and the clouds are going to be really thin. So you may get a couple peaks of it, but again, we're going to have a lot of clouds sticking around tonight. All right, clouds again tomorrow, 78. Some scattered thunderstorms by evening and tomorrow night. Some of those could be strong, maybe severe. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Much of the same on Wednesday, heavy amounts of rain. A few showers left over Thursday, and then looking pretty good into the weekend. We do have a severe threat that returns late Sunday into Monday.
Thanks, Doug, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.